And right now, we're only, 3 minutes away from the launching of another rocket, an Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral, the Air Force Base there. Joining us now to discuss what's going on, Captain Mark Kelly, the former NASA astronaut, retired combat veteran, as well as Senator Bill Nelson of Florida. He himself is a former shuttle astronaut. To both of you, thanks very much for joining us. And to say we're only maybe less than 3 minutes away from the launch of this Atlas V rocket. Senator, do you have any idea what happened yesterday, why that rocket exploded?
It looks like his failure in the main engine, first stage. They're doing the investigation now, and they'll let us know just as soon as they pinpoint it.
What does it look like, Mark Kelly? And we see we're only 2 minutes, 14 seconds away from the launching of this rocket in Florida. Mark Kelly, what does it look like to you? What could have happened?
Well, they're not going to know for some time. I mean, when I watched the video, I watched it last night a number of times. You can see that there appears to be a loss of thrust. So that might indicate that there was an engine problem. There could also be a problem with one of the pressure vessels that supply the fuel to the engine. You know, so they're going to have to look at the debris field. They're going to have to gather all the pieces, and it's going to take some time for them to figure out what the cause of the mishap was. You know, it's not going to be days, probably not even weeks. It's probably going to be more like months before they figure this out.
We're, only about a minute or so away from the launch of this Atlas V rocket from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Base in your home state, Senator, of Florida. You know, people are going to watch all of these rocket launches a lot more closely right now based on what happened in Virginia last night.
Well, you can expect setbacks, but people are going to get more and more excited about our space flight as we start now testing the hardware that we will have humans ride back into space. There's a launch this December, for example, of the capsule we're creating for long-duration space flight out beyond Earth's orbit called Orion. That's going to be tested this year.
The weather looks good down in Florida right now. All systems go. This is the point, and we're only a few seconds away, Mark Kelly. They get a little nervous right now, right?
Well, folks in the control room certainly are, you know, but they're all at their consoles. They're doing their job. You know, they got to, you know, these things are well managed. Safety is always the #1 priority. When you can see with the Antares, you know, as that rocket failed, you know, they sent the signal to destruct it to make sure that nobody on the ground was going to be injured. But yeah, you know, I think, you know, the nerves are a little, you know, they're a little tense there at the launch center.
All right, let's listen into NASA.
4, 3, we have ignition, 2, and liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the 8th GPS 2F satellite for the United States Air Force. GPS provides worldwide positioning, navigation, and timing services for the military and civilian users. You are hearing the voice of Rob Gannon providing launch vehicle ascent data. Let's listen in for mission progress.
Good there. Roll, pitch, yaw programs are in. Everything looking good. And we're continuing right down the center of the range track. 0.7 miles in altitude, 0.2 of a mile downrange. Traveling at nearly 1,000 miles per hour. Engine continues to operate as expected. Flight control looks good. Rates are as expected. Engine is steady at 100% rated thrust. Everything is looking good. Roll program complete. Everything looking good. Continuing right down the center of the range track. Coming up on Mach 1. And the vehicle's now supersonic. Continuing to fly down the range track. Everything looks good. Engine is still operating as expected at 100% rated thrust. Flight control disturbances are good. We are now passing through max dynamic pressure. We have entered our second throttle phase. We are now operating the engine at 95% rated thrust, right as expected. We are 10 miles in altitude, 5.9 miles downrange, traveling at nearly 2,000 miles per hour. Engine parameters look good. Vehicle is stable. Normal control on booster PU. And the vehicle is continuing to fly as expected. And we are now at 50% of our liftoff rate. Everything is looking good.
All right, well, that's very encouraging. He says everything is looking good right now. It looks like a perfect launch of this Atlas V. It's carrying GPS satellites to serve U.S. military personnel in what they describe as navigational assistance for military operations on land, at sea, and in the air. It's also carrying some GPS satellites that will help civilian users, they say, around the world who will rely on this GPS equipment for highly accurate time, location, velocity information. That's the official word. Senator Nelson, it looks like a perfect launch, fortunately, right there. You saw any problems at all?
No, sir. Wolf, when I hear those engines roar, I get excited. And the flashback went, since Mark was the commander of the next to the last mission of the space shuttle, I was right there at the Cape just screaming at the top of my lungs as that baby lifted off. And it looks like this rocket, Atlas V, they've had 50 straight successful launches of this Atlas V. So, again, it looks like a perfect launch.
Mark Kelly, your brother is on that International Space Station right now, isn't he?
No, he isn't, Wolf. He actually launches on March 29th of next year.
Oh, so he's going
there.
Spend
a year in orbit. Yeah, he'll be making his second long-duration flight here starting in March.
All right, so this gets very personal for you as well. Who's going to launch him to go up there since the U.S. dropped that shuttle?
Yeah, since we retired the space shuttle, since space shuttle program was, retired, we now launch on the Russian Soyuz rocket up to the International Space Station. That's how American crew members get there. So he'll be launching on a Russian Soyuz. But hopefully by 2016 with SpaceX and maybe 2017 with Boeing, we'll be seeing American astronauts launching on American rockets again up to the space station, which would be great.
You think that's going to happen, Senator Nelson, in this time of budget cutting?
Amen. They are well underway. As I mentioned, even the big monster rocket for NASA for exploration in the heavens is going to have its first test flight, which is a ballistic reentry, coming up in just a couple of months. But these two companies that Mark mentioned, Boeing and SpaceX, are now putting in all the design of redundancies, the escape systems on their spacecraft so that we can launch humans successfully.
Senator Nelson, thanks very much. Mark Kelly, thanks to you. I wish your brother our best wishes as he undertakes this mission in March. We're going to continue to watch this Atlas V rocket as it heads into space carrying this GPS equipment. We're going to try, obviously, to learn a lot more about what happened last night in Virginia with that explosion of that other rocket, a contract rocket contracted by NASA. Guys, thanks very, very much.